Hi, this is Samantha Woodworker of Warp Boards, and welcome to my brand new video blog. I thought what better way to start a video blog than with a shop tour. So welcome to my shop, and I hope you enjoy the tour. So I'm standing just inside the door of my shop, and this is the first thing you see when you enter. A gun cabinet. Yeah. And somehow there's a saw mounted on the wall behind the gun cabinet. It's not very refined, let's just say. I haven't worked on the aesthetics of my shop at all. Okay, so here's the door. Then we have some wood storage up on top of the door. Another saw there. Some clamps up along that shelf, and who knows what else is on that shelf. Some clamps up against this wall, and some clamps over here. In this corner, you can see my dust right hose, which is on top of my dust collector. And that's just a 3/4 horsepower. It's not very strong, but as you can see, my shop is very small, so the size works for in here. And this is my rigid spindle sander / edge sander, which I love, and all the parts are under there. There's various gardening and house repair tools around too. There's some maple up there. Over here you see my new dust separator that I finally got around to hooking up and testing. Works very well. It's just a temporary stand under my sander. Haven't figured that out yet. Over here we have some hardware in this organizer. A really nice Rockwell drill, and the driver is over on the other side of the shop, which I'll show you later. Have some of these, which fit into my bench, which is over here. The top is not dead flat on this cobbled together thing. It's really just a collapsible table, which I've set down on some cinder blocks and then beefed up with some 4x4s and other scraps of wood, and then I put a cleat up against that wall and screwed the whole thing to the wall. So it's not very flat, but it's pretty stable, and it works for now. I love this vise. It is a quick release. I think it opens to 9 inches. As you can see, the screw is protected from dust there. Over here we have my hardware. Some screws. This is wax paper actually it's butcher paper, I think. I found it with this dispenser on the street, and so I just brought it into here, and I use that paper to roll out onto my bench and protect the surface from glue ups. In this organizer here we have painter's pyramids, some finishes in there, some dust masks, some marking and measuring tools. There was a burnisher. Yeah. And then under the bench there's some current projects happening there. In those little metal fancy briefcases are sandpaper and veneer. Who knows why, but that's the system I've worked out. Over on this side, beside the door, we have pegboard filled with general purpose tools. There's my jointer, made in 1986. There's a dehumidifier. I find that a very useful tool for this structure, which has carpenter ant issues, which you can see down here. That's their excrement. And their hard work. And it also has issues with water leaking in under the walls when it's very rainy. There you can see some evidence of the water seeping in. There's a water line too. So sometimes there are pools of water in here, and that dehumidifier really works nicely to do damage control while I'm not in the shop. To the other side of the shop, you can see my table saw, which has a cover on it. This is a saw stop, and there's my push sticks right along that wall. And you can see this is actually the outlet that I plug it into, and I always unplug it before I leave the shop. Because I worry about power surges and this delicate machinery. Or maybe not delicate, but I don't want to take a risk. Over here you can see a chest that I inherited full of my grandfather's tools. I have photos of this chest's contents on my blog, so I won't really get into that. But I'm the most happy about that plane right there. I don't really understand why people like having tool chests. I find, especially in a small shop like mine, they just get in the way. And I will keep that one. I just have to find a place for it that's better than that. Here's my scroll saw with a game plan behind there. Here's a pack of smokes. No, that's not a pack of smokes. It's drill bits and screwdriver bits and Forstner bits, because we are close to the drill press. And the sound system, which is quite nice actually. Up here we have some storage bins and some veneer stacked up there, and some random wood chunks that I have yet to use. Some layout tools there. Big square and a T-square. It's a drafting T-square really, but you use what you have, you know. This is a chest that's filled with wrenches and screwdrivers and oops, that's locked because never mind. And some pliers. Over here we have my router table, which I have covered in plastic because the roof on this structure used to not be good, and old habits die hard. This is a tool chest that I made in woodworking school. Not a big fan of it, but I love this little drawer. It's great for some of my favorite tools. Here, this is another favorite tool, obviously. Here's my crosscut sled for the table saw. Here's my shop vac. It's very small, but surprisingly very powerful. And from the router table, we make it over to the miter saw station. There's the breaker box. There's a shelf filled with tools, various tools. There's some routers, a saw, jigsaw, circular saw, sander, bench grinder, an iron, also a tool. Up here, that's just storage. That's just weird stuff. There's some wood chunks there, and the bandsaw, which is frankly too large for this space. I'd like to get a smaller one eventually, but for now, it's doing its job. I built a fence for it. It locks down. It's adjustable for drift with these screws here and here. And there's a little plate on the back with a lock nut for the threaded bolt. Oh, and here you see some other drills that I have. There's the driver. I love this one because it takes care of torque at the beginning and end of your jobs. Extra measuring tapes here and here. This one's pretty important. First aid kit. I keep it on the windowsill. This is not to drink. This is actually because there's no water in the shop. So if I do get a cut, I want to be able to wash it out. And there's some alcohol here too. And this is actually right here my shop mascot, or informally so. It's a carving I did at woodworking school. This is a shooting board I made in woodworking school. Your plane goes along here, wood there, and then you flip it over, and it's just a regular bench hook. This is my planer, again with the plastic, sorry. It's a General International helical cutter 13-inch planer. It's really great. I love it. I have no complaints whatsoever. The only one, if I do have one, is that the helical cutters only have two sides of the blade that you can use and turn around, whereas other helical cutters you can use all four sides to turn to a new cutting edge. And we're back at the joiner. You can see that there's two windows there, and then one window in the door, and the lights, here we are just two fluorescent units along the top, and one lamp there and one lamp there. In the summer, I like to have an air conditioner in this window in the door. And as you can see, it's quite small. It's 16 feet by 8. And it just manages to fit everything in a reasonable workflow situation. And that's that.